Let's talk about drones. I know the announcement that Amazon is testing drones for product delivery surprised many people, but you had already mentioned several examples of drones already in use in other industries in the report. Can you share some of those examples with us?
Yeah, absolutely. And the Amazon announcement, maybe it's premature to call it an announcement, but I think Bezos was having some fun with that when he did that on 60 Minutes. But as I look at technologies that are out there that could be very easily ported over to wholesale distribution type scenarios, drones is certainly one of them. And I think there's a couple of different ways you could think about that. One is to use drones as Amazon was thinking, and that is in a delivery capacity. And the U.S. military over in Afghanistan has been using drones in multiple capacities for quite a few years. One of the less visible ways that they've been used is actually to transport heavy supplies up to some of the remote bases up in the mountains of Afghanistan where you can't get a truck, you don't want to necessarily send a helicopter with people in it, but you need to resupply those bases on a regular basis, and the military is using drone helicopters to get that done. It doesn't take too much of a stretch to think about doing the same thing back here in the U.S., pick a product to a remote job site, a drilling platform, a construction site, a disaster area. So maybe a tornado has come through somewhere down south, and there's a tremendous need for plywood or bottled water or whatever it is. The ability to deliver that when the roads may be out or the other infrastructure may be impacted, the ability to deliver that type of thing using drones becomes very, very compelling. The other way I can see this being used is from a sort of a reconnaissance survey photography perspective. The ability of, say, an electrical distributor to go to a construction site, launch a very low-cost drone to fly around the construction site, through the building, into some areas where maybe people cannot really get into, and get an assessment as to how far along the project is and how much of various supplies have been used and what the likely needs will be over the coming week and months, and allow them to be far more informed about the supply need and the level of completeness on a construction site. To me, creates tremendous amount of opportunity. And if you think about maybe providing some sort of MRO service to a pipeline or some other remote location, the ability again to send a drone over there to take some pictures and have an informed view of what's really needed before you send a delivery truck also becomes compelling. And then taking it even in a different direction, the ability to fly a drone over a marketplace, for example. Maybe you're an HVAC distributor and you're trying to estimate the market for commercial HVAC units in a particular geography. The ability to fly a drone over that geography and see what HVAC units are in place, and not just count them, but take high-quality images of those so that you know exactly what's in place and how old they are and how well they're being maintained, would create tremendous market insights for a company in that industry. The big barrier with all of these technologies, well, maybe not all of them, but certainly with drones and unmanned vehicles, the big barrier is not the technology. It is far more the regulation and the legislation that has to be put in place to get people comfortable with the idea of, drones making deliveries and taking pictures and unmanned vehicles driving up and down the roads.
Guy, thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you, Angela. Really appreciate it. As you can probably tell, quite excited about some of these technologies, and really, really interested to see how distributors latch onto them and use them in their business, because I think this is a really exciting time, and some of these can be real game changers and help distributors reposition themselves in a really value-added way.
Again, that was Guy Blissett, Wholesale Distribution Lead for IBM and author of the National Association of Wholesaler Distributors' latest edition of Facing the Forces of Change. Copies of the latest edition can be purchased from NAW at naw.org.